There's nothing wrong with having that in the back of your mind and having your big project. Like, if that's what gets you going, go for it. But
Hmm.
yes, definitely starting small is the way to go. And even again with reaching out to people and making connections with artists. Like, if you have nothing to show for yourself, it's very hard to to even work up the scale and find more artists to work with or more skilled artists to work with at that, right? Because
Yeah.
the most skilled artists want to know that they're going to get paid on time, right? And they're going to get scripts when they expect them and all that. And you can't prove that if you're unknown. If you're like, I have this great idea, that's
Yeah.
not enough.
Every step that you make towards making comics is a better proof for anyone else that someone was willing to work with you in the past, and it helps. And like, if you say, hey, I've successfully managed these Kickstarter campaigns and I made sure everything was delivered on time and made sure that people got paid, that is a lot more impressive than I have a comic, I want to sell it, here's my really good idea, or DM me for my really good idea.
Yes.
uh Trust me, it's going to make millions of dollars. Like, there is a big difference between that or, hey, I've got an idea. It's X meets X meets X. It's going to be X number of pages. I can handle the Kickstarter. I also know some people who I can go to. We just need a primary penciler. Big differences there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it shows. It shows even in the most simple things, like you mentioned before we went live together, that we that you found us on Reddit on
Mm-hmm.
the comic collabs, and that's a great example. You can see the difference of those who are getting work and those who aren't, and those who are getting work are the ones that come up front. It's a if they're an artist, they're here are my sequentials. I have rates. They don't necessarily have to share them up front or not,
Yeah.
but they have rates when you ask for them.
And
Because
they
I've had
have,
that. Uh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, and they have like pages that they're showing,
Yes.
and they don't need to post as much because they are getting consistent work.
Yes, exactly, right? Like you can tell the folks that are even when they do post again, because sometimes you will get people who are relatively fast and they're going from project to project, but you can see like they're okay, here's the latest pages I just did. Here's another handful of sequentials for you to see with the boring stuff and the interesting stuff, right? Like it's those folks that give you the gamut. And then when it comes on the writer's end, it's really having your project very clear of exactly what your requirements and expectations are. And I think in that case, it's good to say what your budget is, right? Like I understand again if an artist doesn't want to share their rates or whatever, that's
Mhm.
their prerogative. But I do think sharing them gives you a leg up. But that's just me. Um, but if you're looking for someone to come onto a project, you better tell them what the budget is, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody coming in and saying, "Yeah, yeah, I'd absolutely love to. My rates are, four times what you would have expected."
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're wasting each other's time at this point, all right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm blanking on the name of the artist. The guy who did like the main designs for Dean Hit, who did like the main designs for Teen Titans Go,
Hmm.
and he did a bunch of Marble Snap cards back when that was really big, like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there had been a time where I reached out to him and he was like, "Yeah, I think that you actually have a really good idea here, but I can't accept it because you don't really have a budget. But no, best of luck. This was a really good and professional email." It's like, cool. You at least make a good impression if you have enough to make a good impression.
Yes, exactly, right? It's knowing what you need and what you can do, and that at least will again, it puts everybody at ease that okay, you're a professional. Maybe we can't work together based
Mhm.
on the rates or whatever. That's fine. It happens. But at least they're like, okay, this guy like knows what he's doing, and you never know what that leads to. Where you're making at least you're making that good impression that someone can say, I have an artist who's just starting up, and maybe they can work with you. And you never know what comes of that. But if you go in and you're like, hey, Greg Capullo, I have $100 with your name on it, right? That's not going to go well. And
Yeah.
next time your name pops up, there's not going to be very many nice things said about you. So
Or you become a joke, and there's I think there is a good likelihood that people can inadvertently make negative reputations for themselves based on how they act, because it's not bad to be forgettable. It is usually bad to be memorable to a lot of people.
That's a good way of putting it. I think so. Yeah, and again, it's about the impression you make in the sense of like people make mistakes and say stupid things and all that. Like that's not what we're referring to. It's people who come in with an attitude or with an expectation that, you're gonna work for me. This
Mhm.
is gonna happen. This is whatever. And it's not understanding that, we're all people. We all have different needs and requirements and all that. And, sometimes things don't work and that's it. And like it's all about the collaboration in that. And sometimes you get people who are very forceful, people who expect way too much or demand way too much, and that does not play well long term, right? Maybe you get what
Yeah.
you want out of this one project because you worked with someone who's just willing to suck it up and do it, but long run, that's not going to go in your favor for sure.
Yeah. I've had artists I know it's like, yeah, I would never work with X person ever again, even if they offered me a better rate.
Yeah, right. And it doesn't take much, right? And then I've had examples where people reach out to me because now that I've been doing this, I haven't been doing this nearly as long as you. I'll say that much. I've been doing this for about 3 years, but I've worked with enough artists now and all kinds of people that sometimes folks will say, "Hey, you worked with this artist before. What do you think?" Right? And anyone that I've obviously published with, I've usually gone back to them
Mhm.
because they've been great. But there's been ones that stuff didn't get off the ground, and though I'm not going around, trashing people or anything, I'm also not giving a recommendation. And
Yeah.
sometimes that in itself tells the whole story, right? Or it's like, well, what did you think of this person? It's like, well, it didn't work out,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to give details, but just sometimes that's enough, right? Or
Yeah. The lack of details is all the details that is needed sometimes. Because it's like,
yes,
oh, they were great to work with, but their grandmother just died, and so they had to deal with that, is different than, yeah, it just didn't work out.
yeah, right. It says everything. It says everything in itself. Again, you don't need details, but you don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that even if something went wrong, even if something went terrible, you've built enough of a relationship or reputation that people are like, "Oh yeah, they're good, but they might be really busy right now. They might be whatever." Or, at least they're maybe making an excuse for you if things didn't work
Yeah.
out, right? But when they're
Yeah.
just willing to leave it there, that's bad.
Yeah. I think that it comics is also very much an industry where it can be very easy to have relationships go south, because a lot of it is also parasocial in some ways, in some instances where it's like, oh, hey, I've read your stuff for years. Would you read this thing that I wrote? And if they say no, it can be a, oh, why not? As opposed to, you know, you have to learn how to carry yourself, learn how to communicate, and learn how to be a person differently in person than you are online, which I think there's some people who don't even know how to act online, and it's
Yes.
evident. And yeah, just kind of the act of being a person can be a challenge for some people.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately so. Um, I mean, I understand it's a very introverted industry or group of people,
Hmm.
but I mean, at the end of the day, it's the treat people the way you want to be treated kind of thing, right? Like, don't be rude. Just remember everybody has something going on. Even though this is very important to you, they have other things that are very important to them that may be going on. If everybody had that in their head, I feel like things would be going, a lot smoother, but easier said than done. People are people. They're gonna act the way they act. But if you wanna, you know, if you want to be a cut above, really, you would not even be a cut above. You would be in the top 10% if you come into this whole thing, one being a little bit humble, like have some humility about like who you are and what you're doing and who you're talking to, and two, being professional,
Hmm.
right? And just understanding that this is, although it's fun and it's art and it's comics and it's silly and all that stuff, at the end of the day, it's a business. People are trying to, you know, either if they're lucky enough to have it to be their livelihoods, they're trying to put food on their table. If not, they're trying to recoup the costs of their very expensive comics they've been putting together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's one of those things. If you're hanging around a table too much, it, not to get full into someone's head, but just kind of like, hey, there's other people. Find out something new about someone else at the show. Or if you are looking to have a conversation with something, at least maybe make sure you buy something.
Yes,
The table ghost who's just kind of scaring people off and kind of taking your attention and is also not spending money is a frustrating thing to balance out.
100%. Yeah, the table barnacles is what I've
Mhm.
heard them called. And yeah, that's absolutely it. Like I always say to people, like I'm an open book. I'm always happy to help whoever. But I had an experience this past May at TCAF. TCAF is our big like indie comics convention here. It moved from its usual setting. We moved to what is our old hockey arena, the old Maple Leaf Gardens. So we were on the actual ice of the rink. Roberto was just one down from me, so it was really fun. But the one thing that kept happening on the Saturday in particular was we had a lot of young artists coming
Mhm.
by, feigning flipping through some of the books and then asking if I had any work for them. And that was like, you see how you came to my table and didn't buy anything. At what point do you think I have the money and the trust to buy your art based on our very brief conversation? So I've said this a couple times, and some were very friendly and
Mhm.
very professional and just like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm an artist, you know, do you have any advice? And again, always happy to talk to those people, always happy to work with the ones that are again very professional and just want to know more. Like 100%. Usually you're sitting there and you're bored anyway, so you're more than happy to chat it up with anyone.
Yeah.
But it was the ones that came in almost like a demand, and then they went to the next table and repeated it, right? Like the same pitch. So like it wasn't even like you'd like to work with me. You just want to work with anybody who has an open wallet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not going to get you anywhere, really. Like I have a memory for certain things that happen, and this happened in May, and we're talking now in July, and it's still burning me a little bit. So I can only imagine if one of those names come back up.
there there's a lot of people on the Reddit who kind of post and say, "Hey, I'm a writer. I haven't written any comics work, but you should hire me for a project." It's like,
Based on what?
my friend, I have been published. I have self-published. I would take paying work right now, but I also have work that I can show. I can send over like easily 100 pages of very different stories. If I wasn't even going to do that, I could just send over a bunch of scripts, comic
Yep.
or movie. It's like, do the work, show the work, put in the effort, and you get a chance to continue.
Yes. I think it's that. I think it's the idea of like you're putting in the work, but the idea isn't that you're putting in the like paid work. I think there's like
Mhm.
a confusion of two different discussions that happen, right?
Mhm.
Where yes, artists should be paid for their work. 100%. The same for writers, same for anybody else. If somebody is commissioning something from you, unless it's like a good friend or something like that that you've worked something out, you should be paid, right? Without question, that's how it works. However, that doesn't mean that everything you produce needs to be a paid piece of work, right?
Or that people want to buy everything that you have made. That's
Correct.
I've made weird comics and people don't always want those. And it can also be, are you barking up the wrong tree? Are you going to the wrong show? If you do superhero stuff, maybe the very indie comic book festival is not your place to go because yeah, you'll find some kids who are really excited to see Spider-Man there, but most of the people aren't necessarily looking for that. Knowing the environment of the shows that you go to is important.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that's actually very true. So I've gone to some conventions sight unseen, and I've complained about them.
Mhm.
Again, not complain. It's my own doing for not knowing any better. But like I've been to ones that were very Pokemon card focused. Did not realize that's what I was walking into
Mhm.
because it was called Comic Con, and I thought it was for comics, but it's for Pokemon cards. So there's that end of it. But the other end of it is, yeah, like knowing your audience and knowing where you're going. So that's even true on Kickstarter, right? Like I tell folks, yes, you can do superhero comics on Kickstarter. Absolutely. Folks have done it and done it well and successfully. However, it's an uphill climb, right?
Yeah.
Because you are now competing with Batman and Superman and Spider-Man and all them, and they're available for much cheaper at the LCS down the street and will be out next month. We don't have to wait, 4 to 6 months for the next issue.
Yeah.
That's the world you're delving into. So do you want to fight on that ground or do you want to fight on ground that is a little more fruitful on Kickstarter, something a little more indie, horror, thrillers, something like that. Um, so it's yeah, knowing your audience and knowing your platform as well, right? Whether in person or online.
And knowing how to sell what you are selling and who you can probably sell it to and how you can sell it to them.
Yes, absolutely. That's one thing. See, I'm always learning. I I'm doing it again. It'll be back in time by the time it happens.
Mhm.
But I'll be at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. It's a favorite LCS of mine, and the owner there, Omar, always jumps in because he's like a marketer at heart. He always jumps in and sells the comics so much better than I ever could. So every time I go there, I learn how to sell my own work better than I do myself. And it's a skill in itself, like writing, like drawing, like everything. It's practice. It's getting in front of people and pitching and seeing what works and what doesn't, and who cringes and who smiles and who buys something, and building
Yes.
on it, right?
I did New York Comic Con 1 year with the publisher. We got a spot on the main floor. We were 2 rows away from the Marvel booth, which was hell because they were promoting Iron Fist, the TV show. So you just heard that bum, 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 bum
Mm,
heartbeat the entire time. And the Telltale Heart finally made sense on how that drives you mad after like 10 hours on New York Comic Con
yeah.
floor. But the guy who I was there, who had made the Hotshot verse, Mike Watson, he is one of the most sociable hustlers that I know in a very positive way, where it's like he is on for everyone. He's got a dance in him, even at the end of those 10 hours. I'm kind of just like, I'm going to hide here for a bit, or I'm going to do a quick lap around the show floor because this is too much people for me. But I worked on getting that uh, pitch down because Heroes International was, it's not the Justice League, it's the team of minimum wage superhero attitude, or it's the superhero team with minimum wage job attitudes.
Nice.
Because that gets you an idea. And then I tried to have a high concept for each issue. So the second one was, it's a prison in space that gets blown up so everyone inside is really tiny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one-liners that really get people, and if you can, uh, yeah, if you can link it to something they know, that's why it's Justice League meets Galaxy Quest or whatever. Like that kind of like the mashup one works so
Mhm.
well because it's two properties that people know, and it kind of, it's become cliche now, but there's a reason why it worked so well because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm listening. Now you can
Yeah.
get in a little deeper, right? I think you're doing it the better way, which is one thing and then a little bit of a of a story pitch. But
Oh, yeah. But I've got like Super Slasher, which is my Superboy meets Buffy versus Jason comic.
that, right on. But I think even that tells you a little bit more story, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, again, there's an art to it. If you want to do it and not be a cliche, I think it's you have to see what is out there that's very similar and not do that because
Yes.
everybody has the two most, it's Barbie meets Oppenheimer. Cool. There's a lot of that.
Okay, but would you not read someone's comic that's Barbie versus meets Oppenheimer?
Maybe. I think then the art would have to sell me on that one.
Fair, fair. I did very well for a while. I did Peter versus Jesus, Dawn of Christ, and it was the same year that Batman versus Superman came out, and it was a parody of one as the other. And
Nice.
that first year, it went out and did really well. And then I've
Hmm.
been slowly selling through whatever else I have left behind.
Nice.
That's
That's
comics.
yeah. If you could ride a trend, like all power to you. That's awesome.
Hmm.
It's hard sometimes though, especially with so comics is actually a lot faster than a lot of mediums like film. It's the worst when they try to be like on top of trends and things, because by the time the film comes out, 2 years after whatever saying was popular, it ends up being so lame and tired. Comics isn't that much of a drop off. We're talking a few months, but
Yeah.
it's still there's still that danger of like what's cool right now may not be cool in 6 months. So be very careful,
Mhm.
right?
And try and sound natural when you're doing fitness.
Yes.
I remember the Mark Wade champion stuff just getting ravaged for trying to be too teen.
Yes,
And
yes, exactly.
yeah, I mean, I think that it is wonderful though to kind of like have outlets where you can be more reactive and where you can have your thoughts on different things, and that's why I've done a lot of things. Like it's not just writing comics, it's not just like editing comics when those opportunities come up, which if you do need an editor, I'm available and I'm also doing other work for other people right now. But it's like that's why I kind of got into podcasting. It was something that I could do with fewer people for a fewer cost and could promote my other stuff that way.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And well, similar here, right? Was we're
Mhm.
trying to again, while the comics are being created and put together and all that, like how do you stay out front and how do you continue to like get yourself and your work out there? It's you can keep like going on socials. I go up and down. Right now, I'm very active on socials. But even that, it's exhausting. And then you have to be careful what you wade into, and socials are perilous at times. Um, Podcasting, I find, is a lot more friendly and straightforward.
Mhm.
It's having a conversation and seeing how it all plays out. But yeah, it's hard to balance that. And again, it's the whole idea of as a writer, writing is a fraction of what you're doing. It's more promo and marketing and production and fulfillment if you're doing
Mhm.
Kickstarters and things yourself, right? So
That's also one of those things that I bring up to so many people where it's like, yeah, you should want to work with me. It's like, do you have an audience of like over 10,000 people on social media? Because that's a reason for an artist to take a chance on you, because there's a better chance that those people are going to actually buy your comic than if you just made an account, you got two people following you, and one of those is your promotional account for the project.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right? And it's again, it doesn't have to be socials, but you have to have some kind of proof of success, proof of something, right? So
Mhm.
even if you're not into going on Twitter and being a clown like myself, and talking about whatever, like having a Kickstarter that has done relatively well. Like it doesn't have to be, tippy top like you're doing thousands of backers for hundreds of
Mhm.
thousands of dollars, but you have a small crowd that you can show that like it grows with each Kickstarter or something like that, right? That is proof of like that's the proof of your work and your professionalism and all that. But if you don't have any of that, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for someone to take a chance on you, right? Because there's many people who have all that waiting for their shot as well.
And that's where you kind of need to scale down, be realistic, and kind of like approach it from a you're doing a lot for me. I'm going to try and figure out all this other stuff to help you. Like, if your artist asks you what are the page dimensions that you're going to be printing on and you don't know, figure that out. Who's going to do the layout work? Who's going to do the lettering? Do you have that path figured out? Because a lot of comic creators kind of are like, okay, I find an artist and they're going to do everything. And
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's going to be rough town if you do that. But no, like make something, build up an audience if ultimately you are going to need an audience. Even if you aren't, even if it's just like, I'm listening to this because I like to hear comic creators. If you even just take some time to be like, hey, you posted something that I like, I'm actually going to say that I liked that, or I like these things that you do. That is a good way to build connections with people and that sort of stuff. That authentic interactions, great for everybody involved as long as it's authentic and not just you trying to schmooze people.
Yeah, to hustle for work, which is the grossest feeling when you can feel that somebody's just talking to you because they're trying to get something out of you. That's
Mhm.
like it's going to give you the exact opposite effect of what you're looking for, right? It's the authenticity and this whole everything is built on relationships of some sort, right? Whether it's relationships with your artists, it again, it doesn't even have to be somebody that you've worked with before, but it's the reputation that precedes you. It's the way that you talk to everyone around the artist. Like if you're online in any way, people can see the type of person you are, right? So you have to keep that in mind too. If you're getting in arguments on Twitter about God knows what, or like you hate the latest Superman movie and here are all the reasons why and all that,
Hmm.
all you have is negativity. Well, people can see that, right? And they
Yeah.
you could say, well, that's not. I'm just talking about movies, man. I just think current comics are stupid or whatever your opinion is. But if you're just blasting negativity, that's what people are gonna see when they, when you email them and say, hey, would you like to work with me? It's like, no, man. Like you
Hmm.
just crap on everything. How do I know that you're like not gonna treat this relationship the same way? Right? Like you just blast out negativity constantly. I don't want to work with that. I don't need that. Right? Again, most people are kind of making this happen. It's not their full-time thing, and even if it is, it's a struggle every day. So nobody wants to suffer any more than they have to, right?
Yeah, I also just want to pause to say I'm just staring at that like last panel and it just looks great. I love the depth of feel in it. I do love like the trees and everything. It's just a very visceral and like textural piece.
Thank you. Everything done.
I am glad. I enjoy getting to talk to people. That's also why I started doing podcasts. Yeah, I've been doing that for almost a decade, unless you count like 20 plus years ago. I got Casey Green to do an interview.
Nice.
Yeah, back when like Dick Bud was his most popular thing. I don't know if the
Amazing.
kids know about that anymore.
Well, they can. That's what the Google's for. Um,
Hmm.
don't use Gemini; it'll send you somewhere weird. But but
Yeah.
yeah, it's so. How do you find podcasting and all that nowadays? Like, it's changed quite a bit because now there's this. Well, we're doing video. There's this big drive for video and to clip and to get the shorts out there, which is something I need to get better at doing. Um,
I am awful at it because currently the main show that I'm doing is called Domance Dawn. It is a One Piece and Simpsons podcast, looking at them as comparative animated series.
amazing.
We look at like One Piece episodes and the Simpsons episodes that came out at the same time, and then we cast Simpsons characters as One Piece characters because both of the shows have massive casts. And we've been doing that for a while. We just got done with Marineford when this is recording. Uh I don't know how much of a One Piece person you are.
I'm not very well versed in One Piece, unfortunately.
Fair. Fair. I think it is a fascinating series that has gone on and continued as much as it has because it's over 25 years
Hmm.
the manga's been running, and the fact that it's been primarily a single creator writing and drawing that and kind of getting to bring in all of his interests and going on long enough that like people who sent in fan art in the first volumes have now gone on to run series. Like the
It's
guy who
incredible.
did My Hero Academia had stuff in like the second or third volume
Wow, I did not
that
know
was
that.
printed. Yeah. Uh like I think the fact that it has run as long as it has is fascinating, and the fact that it's also like, oh, there's people who only like the first 10 years of the series and there's another 15 years after that is one of those just fascinating things. But the same idea with The Simpsons.
Yeah, very much sounds like The Simpsons in that way. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I had a conversation on a different podcast on Comics
Mhm.
Asylum with Steve Bynow, who's been on the show before, and we had a guest pop on, and he was talking because we were talking about whether the brand of something is what you follow or the character, right?
Mhm.
So do you like Superman because Superman is Clark Kent or because it's Superman and it doesn't matter if it's Clark Kent or not? We were having that discussion, and then he popped on and said, I think we should just kill them all. We should just kill them all and start over because in manga it ends, but then you have One Piece that doesn't end. So
But that's also one creator. I mean, we don't
True.
really see long runs by like even small teams. I think the closest we've had for a while was Unbeatable Squirrel Girl with Ryan North and Erica Henderson. That had fill-in issues, but even then, like that's something that comics really seems to be afraid of nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Like unless you have like a big name, like I think Mark Wade's been doing the um what was he drawing? What was he writing recently? Justice League Unlimited? Is that right? Anyways, he's been on that for a little while, but they've been giving him, oh no, sorry, Batman Superman World's Finest. That's the book.
Mm.
And they're almost at like 50 issues now, and it's just been him, but with all different kinds of artists and stuff in there. So to your point, it's still not at like a singular vision from beginning
Yeah,
to end. But
and
that's the
even
closest of the recent I could
and
think
even
of.
that's like 4 years of comics as opposed to 25
Decades.
years.
Yeah.
But I think part of that also comes from a difference in what motivates the creators and kind of like how publication is established and what is valued. It's sort of the a singular person's idea for a world versus oh yeah, we kind of just need to keep these trains moving
Yeah.
because the studios own us. Like
It's
I
the third Wednesday. Something must come out. Yeah.
I recently read through all of Naruto for the Play Comics podcast, where they look at video game adaptations of comics, and I've got the bad habit of reading and then recapping entire series in about an hour.
Okay.
Uh to insane lengths. Like Naruto ran for something like 700 chapters, and I covered it in an hour plus
Amazing.
other stuff. And like doing research into that and talking to my friend Royal, who is Rad Comics and who does a lot of great stuff. I love his style. Uh, like he was like, yeah, no, the creator really just wanted to make a manga about giant kaiju fighting, and his editor said, no, you need to have other characters in this, and that's why you just suddenly start introducing in new characters and sort of the editorial grass that made it from something that probably would have died off pretty quickly into something bigger
Nice.
is
It's
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. It's just I guess it's that. It's like you said, it's a different approach that leads to the different outcome, right? It's less
Mhm.
about we need to keep this property uh at the top of mind, or we need to refresh it so we don't lose the rights to it, or it's
Yeah,
all different kinds of things motivating where it seems a little more artistically motivated on the
it's
manga side.
continuing because it is both popular and the artist wants to continue, which I think is the big differentiation
Yes,
as opposed to
that's a very good point because yeah, like I think that's why you get the finality that you get in manga because somebody wants to move on to
Mhm.
something new. um well, yeah, I'm a big fan of Chainsaw Man. That was a interesting example that ended and then started again because he's like, oh, I got more stories to tell, right?
Yeah, I need to read through. I stopped like maybe a year and a half ago, but I'm paying for that Viz subscription or the Shonen Jump subscription, which is best deal in comics, I'd say.
Oh my goodness. Even it's gone up $1, which is technically
Yeah,
like 25% or so, and it still doesn't feel like anything, relatively speaking.
the price of a single floppy comic most places for they apparently also got rid of the 100 chapter day limit,
Yes. Yes. I think that's why
which
there is the small increase, but happy to pay it.
yeah. Uh hey, now you can go and enjoy One Piece and see what the fuss is about and also see how bad those early 2000s lettering jobs look.
That's something to keep in mind, yes.
Yeah, it's we have progressed as a country.
Nice.
Um yeah, like find outlets, find new things to inspire you. Uh Also, like talking about what you love is a great way to connect with other people who also make comics who love the same things.
100%. Yeah, that's why we're all doing it, right? It's not because we hate comics and it's the only place that would pay. If anything, it's the opposite. But
Um, comics are not actual art, and that is why I need you to buy my $80 art book. It is sequential paintings, which is different than comics.
Yeah, that
That
does not happen.
it should not happen. It did happen. It
Oh yeah.
should not happen. Yeah, yeah. There had been an infamous like teacher who I think taught at one of the major art schools, and when the book got nominated for the Eisners, all the former students were like, no, this guy not only traumatized me, but hates comics. And this seems like not the person we should say is
Oh my
one of the
goodness.
best comic creators.
I was unaware of that. That's
Mm.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, I think you nailed it. It's, we're here because we're fans of it. We enjoy the medium, and we may not enjoy all the same things. And I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of arguments about, what's good and what's bad. But the truth of the matter is we all enjoy most of it and can usually find some kind of link to build a relationship with somebody. Just talk about what's cool. Like, honestly, it's that simple. Right? Like if
Mhm.
you're having a hard time connecting with people, talk about what you like and you'll be shocked, right?
Yeah. And share what you like and let other people share what they like. And then you get to see like what works for other people. And if that doesn't work for you, you can try and understand why. I worked at a comic shop back in college, and a guy came in one day and was like, all right, who do you think is the best comic artist? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, pick up a book. What's the best? And I picked up a copy of Thor: Mighty Avenger by Chris Samney, and there's not enough lines. Where's Todd McFarlane? Where's all those lines? That's good art. And it's like, well, no, this is accomplishing what it is trying to do. You can see everything clearly. It shows texture, and it's like, cool. I mean, I don't think a greater amount of detail makes something better than other things necessarily.
Yeah, 100%. It's that idea of like what there's different reasons to enjoy different things and they don't all have to be the same. It's
Mhm.
it's why I always get frustrated with the like manga versus comics argument. Like they're different formats of the same thing. Like we all like the same thing at the end of the day. So I never understand why people are so like, I like this one and not that one. It's like that's okay. Like you don't have to like everything first off, but also, there's probably something if you were a little more open-minded, there may be something you would like about it. Right?
Yeah.
So,
I think it is better to try and have an open mind to things because you never know when there's going to be some hugely ironic change. I went to a party back in college, and I ended up listening to a guy ranting for about 2 hours on how much he hated Jim Lee's work,
oh my
and
goodness.
like how he was in regular correspondence with Jim Lee and like was like getting respectful responses back. And then this has stuck with me ever since then. Like 2 days later, they announced the new 52, where Jim Lee had done all the redesigns, and I just imagine that guy getting so angry at that news. It's like, no. Oh,
It's a nightmare. It's a living nightmare.
yes.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if you stay positive, you're gonna get a lot more friends that way than just being negative. You don't have to like everything. You could even talk about the things you don't like about things, but understand that there's a person on the other side of that thing too. So just because you don't like it doesn't mean you have to like hate it and wish it out of
Yeah.
existence, right?
Yeah. Or if it doesn't work for you, that's different than hating on something. Like if you can have a good discussion for why something doesn't work, I think that's a good opportunity for conversation and growth and improvement. I know like Superman's been getting in the discourse. There's been a lot of people have been like, well, I didn't like this, but I don't want people to think the wrong things. It's like, well, okay, I'm interested to hear why this movie did not work. As a person who grew up in Ohio and is like, hey, I've been to the building that looks like the Justice League IRL. That's great. I've been to the place where Superman kisses Lois and all the promo ads, and I've stayed in there, and it's awesome because like the top two floors all look like detective offices, but they're also hotel rooms.
Oh, neat.
So it's like you get to sleep in a noir detective office. It's wonderful. It's like, yeah, no, I had different reactions, but if it didn't work for you, if you have concerns, yeah, let's talk about that. I'm interested in learning, and if I don't agree with you, I would at least feel comfortable enough saying, hey, yeah, I don't agree with you, but I appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's coming at it with some kind of respect and some thought behind, other people like it for a reason, and that doesn't make them stupid or lesser or whatever. It's just they have came at it with a different experience than you did, a different point of view, and there's a reason that they enjoyed it, and maybe there's an opposite reason why you didn't, right? Um,
Hmm.
but I find the people like pre-hated for Superman's case, the movie, people
Mhm.
pre-hated it, right? It didn't come out yet. People were like, this is gonna be stupid because it's not Zack Snyder. It's like, sure, but he's a different person. Like James Gunn's a different person. The whole cast is different. It's a different take. Like, just accept that. It's like if you like comics, you must be used to there being different takes on things. Because every few months there's a different take on the same character. So the idea that like there can only be one is just like you clearly don't enjoy comics then. Because they must have done the version you like decades ago and never come back to it. Right?
Yeah, I got into Moon Knight that way back in the day. There used to be, or were you familiar with the nerdcore scene?
No.
Nerdcore was like is still around. There's a musician named Adam Warrock who did a West Coast Avengers mixtape, and there was a song on it about Moon Knight, and that was like, oh yeah, I love Moon Knight. I love this character. I'm reading all this stuff on Marvel Wikia. I'm not actually reading in the comics because the stuff that we have in the comic shop doesn't seem interesting. But Brian Michael Bendis is going to write in cool. Uh, I'm not a fan, and that's also one of those things. I had a job interview where the guy was like, "Who's your favorite comic book character?" Because you like comics. It's like that's the worst question to ask because it really depends on the writer and so many other things.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like there's nothing static. And again, that's maybe the difference between manga and Western comics is that there's just different interpretations of the same character over and over and over. So to go back to that conversation I had recently about we should just end all the comics because, we've told the story, why are we continuing? But we're never done because it's someone else is going to have a different point of view, right? Where again, you're getting a singular vision on the manga side most of the time. Um, then you're getting that one creator, two creators that have this is the story and this is what I saw the ending as and it's done.
Mhm.
Where we don't have that in Western comics. It's here's the middle, and then we're ending this arc, and then someone else is gonna take the ball and run with it, and we're gonna see what they think, and that's kind of the joy of it, right? So I never understand this like definitive like this is Superman. This is the only kind of Superman that exists. Like
Mhm.
let's see what this version does, right? I enjoyed Man of Steel. I enjoyed Superman. They're entirely different films with entirely different takes, and I enjoy them for very different reasons. But I enjoy them both. All right, you can. It's fine. They can coexist. So yeah, it's
In fact, they do.
yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? When Superman came out, they didn't delete Man of Steel. It wasn't deleted from existence. I can go watch it right now if I wanted
They
to,
should have.
depending who you ask. But yeah, right? Like you can just enjoy things that exist for what they are. It's a novel concept, I know.
You can ignore or just not make your entire point in life on hating things that you don't enjoy because you could instead spend that time finding things that you love, sharing those things that you love, and using that to find other things that you can get into instead.
One,
Don't, if you get sick at Burger King because all you do is eat at Burger King, stop eating at Burger King and see what else is out there.
yep, exactly. And I get it. I get it's great for engagement to be negative, but what
Mhm.
what are you getting that engagement for? Like, does someone clicking like really change your life, or enjoying life, enjoying the things out there, and getting to have these relationships with people because you have something in common rather than outside of a common hatred of something, which I don't think anything fruitful comes of that. But like finding things you actually enjoy together is gonna be a lot longer lasting than just hating something random for no good reason, other than clicks, right?
Don't waste your time hoping that the Whopper is going to get taken off of the menu.
That's gonna be the name of this episode. Luke hates Whoppers, and we're gonna get so much engagement.
You know what? I'll say it. Here's your audio clip. I think that the Whopper is the greatest travesty that has been made to the great country of America. It is the single focal point for this black hole of pain and misery that we are being dragged into.
I don't know how I would use that clip, but it's very detrimental. I appreciate that. But
Writing.
well done. All right. Well, there's no good segue from there.
Yes, there is. There is.
Oh, go for it.
Talking about writing. Do you want to add some balloons to this page?
I think that it works well without balloons. For the like second issue of that Heroes International book that I wrote, I actually did like a almost fully silent except for like 4 captions opening inspired by All-Star Superman, where it's like giving the origin story, and they added dialogue where it was this character who had been bullied, and then that was what woke up her powers, and then like having a moment of compassion was able to calm her down and help her step up to be a superhero. But by adding like actual insults and making it something where it's, oh, this is specifically what they're saying to her, as opposed to they could be saying anything to her. They're maybe saying things that hurt you instead. You take away that universality as well as explicitly putting out that hate onto your page. And as a person who made a very dumb, edgy comic like a decade ago, it's like, yeah, no, you don't do that. If you bring a copy of that book to me, I am going to ask if I can sign it and fix that, and then just black Sharpie over that page, because you don't need that to enhance the story. I think this page is perfectly good as is. It's like, where is it happening? We don't know, but we want to know. What's happening? Don't know, but want to know. It's an enigma, and I think it looks damn good. Because I really like the flow of the page, especially because the like crane hand on that third panel also like acts, because the butterfly is the focal point, and then on the third one it's grabbing your attention, and then you've got the line following it. Yeah, I think it's an excellent page.
Nice. Yeah, it tells quite a bit of story without having to, tell the story. It's show don't tell, right? I think
Yeah.
yeah, turned out really well. And then yeah, Roberto, man, you're talented. I know we say it every week, but I think we just do this show so we can compliment Roberto every week. I understand why he enjoys doing this so much. But
Well, I'm not just, and I'm enjoying the compliment, but I enjoy what I'm doing. And
yeah, of course. Yeah, and it shows in your work. If you were hating this, I'm sure it would be done in half the time and have half the detail. But yes, it definitely shows that you're enjoying the outcome of the work, and yeah, we get to enjoy the final product. So thank you for putting that together. All right, so with that, we're at about time. So Luke, I'm gonna give you the floor. Take as long as you need. Tell us everything that's going on and where we can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you can find me most places online as Coltreg. Again, that is Koltreg. I'm mostly active on Blue Sky and unfortunately Reddit. You can find my comics from 2 different eras at coltreg.itch.io or coltreg.gumroad. Gumroad has some older stuff that's really out of print and is worse. Itch.io has a lot of my newer stuff, but not everything. I really need to get better about figuring out distribution and conventions and all that sort of stuff. You can find some of my comics if you are in Finland through Zoom Teufel, The Clay and Deer Hunting, though both of them have much longer Finnish titles. I believe Silver Sprocket also has copies of The Clay, which is a weird golem romance comic. We did a Rizzo print on it that looks really cool, and we got to like figure out the Rizzo printing process and find a local printer in Columbus where I am at. Since this is coming out in September, if you are unfamiliar with it, Cartoon Crossroads Columbus should be happening around the time that this comes out. It is a excellent show. Big name creators come out every year. If I'm not there, I will be behind the scenes doing web stuff with them. And then right now, the only podcast that I am 100% sure is going on is Domance Dawn, which is the Simpsons and One Piece podcast that I do with my wonderful partner Janine, and occasionally guests who know about the Simpsons and know next to nothing about One Piece. You can find that at domancedawn.com, DOHMANCEDAWN, where we also get wonderfully illustrated covers for every issue. Currently, our standard artist is Mike Patton, who has just done some great stuff. There's an image gallery, and I am available if you are looking for a writer, editor, project manager, or person to just ask questions about. And I also have a YouTube channel that is, I believe, I don't remember what it is. If you look up Domance Dawn, you can find some stuff there. It is Luke Herr it is. LUKEHERRITIS. Like Luke Herr it is. Luke Herr it is. Boom shaka laka shaka laka shaka laka. And I previously did some pieces on writing comics, more from a how to get ideas, how to find collaborators, how to work with people. And hopefully I've got some more stuff coming up soon that will actually get released. But, it's comics. Sometimes the process of creating is all that you do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds like your plate is very, very much full. So I'm sure. And then, yeah, you have a lot more coming. Hopefully, fingers crossed in the very near future. So, yeah, but it sounds like, yeah, you got a lot going on and you really know what you're talking about based on the past couple hours of us chatting. So if you need an editor, you know where to find it. We'll get your information and throw it in the description as well. So if you're wondering, it'll all be there. So you can just click away just in case you didn't catch it as he was spelling it all out for you. With that said, Roberto, your turn. Let them know who you are, what you're up to.
Okay, again, I'm Roberto Viacava. I'm an artist. You can find me on robertoviacavaillustration.com. And in September, I think I'm gonna have a new agent selling my original art. So coming up, but well, not coming up in September. It will be there. So the link will be on the description.
Amazing. Yeah, and I have to say, as someone who tables near or with Roberto, hopefully if everything worked out, this will be past Fan Expo, so you'll know if we did it together or not. But I do know that the original art usually moves pretty quickly, so once that's available, definitely check it out because it doesn't last very long. People are big fans, if you can see, based on the work today. And all right, so with all that said, I'll tell you who I am. My name's Adriano. You can find me at Pesto Comics. I am primarily on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads somehow, and Twitter still, unfortunately. You can find me on those 4 places. I'm also on Substack, pestocomics.substack.com. I share all kinds of stuff there. But yeah, very easy to find me. Pestocomics.com will lead you to all of the places you need to go. Most importantly, I very likely have a Kickstarter that's live right now. It's the sequel to my most successful comic of all time, Naked Kaiju Woman. I have the sequel out. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the title is because it might steer you away, but definitely check it out. Naked Kaiju Woman 2. It'll be a lot of fun. With that, Luke, I want to thank you for coming. This was a great conversation. Had a lot of fun. We came out with a really cool page that, again, it was very literary in a sense. We didn't put too much plot into it, and it still tells an excellent story. So I'm really happy with how it all turned out. And yeah, thanks Roberto for drawing it. I was a wonderful passenger and just seeing it all happen today.
Yeah, it was. I love watching art get made, and this was delightful.
This
Right
was
on.
a pleasure. Thank you, Luke.
Excellent. Well, glad you had fun, and hope all you guys had fun. Thanks for listening or watching or however you found us. Again, you can find us at instantinkpodcast.xyz or instantpodcast.substack.com, or on YouTube at Instant Podcast. So you found us somehow. Those are the other ways. Thanks for being here. We'll talk soon. Have a good one.